21. And before we do that, I'd like to share a couple of information here for the beginning of the meeting. Instructions for a live comment after opening ceremonies. This meeting is being held in accordance with Assembly Bill 361, allowing members of the City Council, members of the public, and staff to participate via teleconference. The instructions on how the public may participate in this meeting are provided on the meeting agenda as well as on the city's website, oxnard.org/city meeting/. Members of the public that did not request to speak prior to the 3 p.m. cutoff may do so during the meeting by dialing 888-475-4499 and entering the meeting ID and passcode found in the meeting agenda. You'll be placed in the Zoom waiting room. While in the Zoom waiting room, once I have called for the public speakers for the agenda item of which you wish to speak, press *9 to raise your hand and inform the clerk that you would like to speak during the agenda item. The clerk will then unmute you when it's time for you to speak, and then you press *6 to unmute your phone. Speakers shall have up to 3 minutes to speak per agenda item. Public comments on the agenda item shall be taken following the announcement of each item. After the item is announced, members of the public staff have 3 minutes to register or otherwise be recognized for the purpose of providing public comment. During this 3-minute time period, public comments may be taken, and the City Council or staff may discuss the item being considered or briefly respond to public comments. In the event of disruption, which prevents the council from broadcasting the meeting, using a call-in option or internet-based option, or in the event of a disruption within the city's control, which prevents members of the public from offering public comments using the call-in option or internet-based service option. The council shall take no further action on this item appearing on the meeting agenda item until the public access to the meeting via the telephone call-in option or internet-based service option is restored. However, in any other broadcast option is disrupted, but if any of other broadcast options are still available to the public, the council may take further action on the item appearing on the meeting agenda item without waiting for the disrupted broadcast options to be restored. Okay, at this time, I'd like to call the roll call and posting the agenda followed by the flag salute. Madam Clerk?
Member Basua.
Here.
Member Tehran.
Here.
Chair Zaragoza.
Here.
The agenda for this meeting was posted in the City Hall kiosk on Tuesday, December 21st, 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, and please join me for a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, Madam Chair. Next item is public comments, not on the agenda. And my understanding that we have one speaker for this item. And let me share a little information here. Members of the public now have 3 minutes to register or otherwise be recognized for the purpose of providing public comments. During this 3-minute period, public comments may be taken, and the City Council staff may discuss this item being considered or briefly respond to public comments. Madam Chair, do we have any speakers?
We did have one public speaker registered to speak. However, he's not available at the moment, and I will go ahead and start the 3-minute timer for public speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, and Mr. Henry Sapien is not available at this time. Okay, so we wait the 3 minutes. Thank you.
It's not so nice without the music, is it?
Yeah, where's the music?
Next time.
All right, thank you. But Mr. City Manager and council members, we're gonna have a good year coming up.
Let's hope. We're all optimistic.
Yep, it's gonna be a good year. Madam Clerk, any speakers? Do we have Henry Sapien?
We do not have any public speakers. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going to item C. We're going to take C1 and C2. C1 is the subject is approval of the minutes for December 14, 2021. And then also we have the City Clerk Department, the conflict of interest, and the recommendation that the Finance and Governance Committee recommend that the City Council adopt a resolution repealing all previous conflict of interest resolutions and adopting an amended conflict of interest pursuant to Public Reform Act to update the list of designated positions, filing status of economic interest, Form 700. So we have those two items for approval. And Mr. City Attorney, do we wait the 3 minutes or?
No, at the beginning of the meeting, we provided notice to all those who wish to speak of the process. They need to follow to dial in, so that will
We're
allow
okay.
us to not wait 3 minutes before taking action on this item.
Okay, so council members, we need a motion on consent item 1 and 2.
Mayor, I don't have any corrections to the minutes, and I'll make the motion for items 1 and 2.
1 and 2, okay. Thank you.
I will second.
It was second from Councilman Basua, first by Councilman Turan, second by Councilman Basua. Roll call?
Member Turan,
Yes.
Member Basua,
Aye.
Chair Zaragoza.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you. Our next item is D1, and this is a Finance Department Enterprise Resource Planning, ERP, the annual report and the second amendment to the Creative Core Technologies Core, the contract for ERP project service. And this is a Finance and Governance Committee. This is to receive the ERP system annual report. That's A, and B is to recommend the City Council approve and authorize the mayor to execute a second amendment to the professional service agreement with Creative Core Technologies Corporation, 9431-21 EFN, in the amount of $700,000 for a new not to exceed contract in the amount of $900,000 to the extent and terms from September 30, 22 to February 1, 2023 for project management services related to the Core Financial and Human Capital Management Phase HCM. And this again was is recorded under Mayor Jam was a pre-recorded presentation by Cherie Klima. Council members, any questions on this item? Okay, Councilmember Turan.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Klima, for the presentation. I think it was a really great overview of the ERP system. And I'm just wondering if you wouldn't mind very briefly explaining for the public what our ERP system is, how it's integrated across departments and systems throughout the city, and how this will improve efficiency for the operations of the city.
Sure. Thank you, Councilmember Turan, for the question. So the ERP system, basically an ERP system is a system that integrates multiple different minor systems in different areas of the city. So if we have for example, accounting system, and we separately have a procurement system, and we separately have a permitting system, the ERP is sort of the backbone that connects between these systems. And so there are 5 major modules in our ERP system. There's core financials, which has 10 different sub areas, such as procurement and accounting and all that. There is human change management, which is basically the HR system. It's going to be able to allow us to do all of the functions that we currently do in HR on paper, such as managing our employees and recruitment, and when employees leave the organization, sort of managing our own personnel. We've also got asset management, which is coming in the future. And asset management is mostly managing a lot of our, for example, our pipelines and our infrastructure, making sure that is all connected to the ERP system. We have Energov, which is the system that is going to be for community development. We've rolled out Bluebeam, which is a component of that, and that is the permit allows you to apply for a permit by scanning. For example, scanning your plans and allowing us to mark up your plans rather than coming in with the paper plans. But there are other components that will be coming, such as allowing you to sign up for your inspection and pay for your permit fees online and monitor your own process of permit applications. And then I am missing one. What is the one I'm missing?
Payroll?
Well, payroll is a part of HCM.
HE.
So absolutely, that's a critical component of the HCM component that we're rolling out right now.
Utility billing is one of them. Right?
Utility billing, thank you, Mayor. And that's
Yeah.
utility billing is the
Right.
last one, and that one,
Mhm.
as it says, will integrate utility billing. And so when this is done, one of the benefits for the public will be that, for example, a member of the public will be able to go on to his or her own connection and will be able to pay their utility bill, pay for their permit, do all kinds of different interactions with the city, all through one core connection, and not have to come in paper, in person, and deal with the lengthier process.
Thank you. And I'd imagine the analog version of that process would be coming in person, walking up to a counter to pay your utility bill, then walking to a different counter, waiting in another line to pay for permitting fees, then going somewhere else to maybe have your service activated or deactivated, things like that. And so I appreciate that explanation. Thank you. And I hope that hope the general public can take a chance to download the packet or look at the presentation to see exactly what this all is and how it will better serve them. Looking at it, I just kind of see it as, decades ago, cars ran fine with like a carburetor and an engine and wheels, and they work pretty much the same now, but they're very much more sophisticated. We have all these systems that talk to each other and tell you if your tire pressure is low or if your fuel efficiency is off for some reason, or all these interactions that work together to improve efficiency and allow the car to keep going down the road. So hopefully folks can see this as a really important step forward for our city. And thank you again for sharing that. And that's all my questions and comments, Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Klima, the question that I have that I think is important, you probably said it, and that this is ERP integrates all those functions from all the departments that can speak to each other, which I think is extremely important, you know, especially when it has to do with human resources, payroll and budgeting, extremely important that we all work together, that we're all in the same page, you know, which is basically what you're doing here, which is a really outstanding. I like it. And also one of the questions I had, Mrs. Klima, is that on let me see, number 2 under recommendations, it talks that it says that we're adding $700,000 not to exceed $900,000, but it says the terms is going to be from September 30th, 2022 to Feb 1, 2023. Does that mean that the contract expires on September 28 or 29? If you look at slide number 2, it says that the 900,000 is to be extended in the term from September 30th, 2022 to Feb 1, 2023. What am I missing there? What? Because we're 9 months away from September 30th.
Well, the earlier amendment had extended it already, so we are adding time.
Okay, I think that the public needs to know that. So we're just adding time to that.
So we are adding, so this amendment adds time and money to the management account. So we had an on-site project manager, and now we have a consultant project manager, and we need to add time and money to that
So
contract.
we're going from 200,000 to 700, adding 700,000 for a total of 9, and adding the additional time.
That's right. And
Okay.
it's important to note, we will come back. That is just the first 2 modules.
That's right.
This is a huge undertaking. This person is working for us essentially full-time, and bringing in, it's not one person. He's got multiple other individuals also. So they're working for us around the clock and really doing a lot of, this is a huge undertaking. So we'll
It
be
is.
back again, and for the following modules, either to extend this contract, hopefully, you know, so far we're very satisfied with his services. And by the way, I should say he's on the computer and happy to answer questions. Name's Andy, and from Creative Core, and he can answer some questions as well if you're interested. But otherwise, yeah, adding money and time to the existing contract.
Now, I just wanted to find out that we're adding of the funding and also the time is to correspond with that. That's basic, and I understand what you're doing. And I think it's an excellent program, number 1. And number 2, like was mentioned before, this way all the departments are going to be on the same page for payroll, for budgeting, and for other HR needs and so forth. And billing is extremely important. So I am, Councilmember Basua, you have any questions on this item?
No, Mayor, I do have comments, and if I may, I just want to, I know it's a huge undertaking. It is the foundation of what the city does. So thank you for all the hard work.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any speaker on this item?
We do not have any public speakers. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, so we're going to start the 3-minute item, but I'm going to mention this again. Members of the public now have 3 minutes to register or otherwise be recognized for the purpose of providing public comments on this item. During the 3-minute period, public comments may be taken, and the city council or staff may discuss the item being considered briefly or briefly to respond to public comments. So we'll start the 3-minute item at this time. And council members, if we have any additional comments, we can discuss with this item. And if not, then we'll have Alex play a little music. Councilmember Turan. Councilmember Turan.
I feel like I should do a dance for you all as well. Just a quick comment. I wanted to thank the creative core team and Ms. Klima as well on the presentation for mentioning about the efficiency findings in planning by pushing that forward because of the pandemic and having plans submitted electronically. It was very interesting to hear, and I hope as time goes on here, we'll realize even more efficiencies, and the public will see the benefit to them in having that go on. And I know my grandparents are having extensive work done to their house for accessibility right now, and the permitting process is certainly something that's better than it was in the past. But we certainly still have work to do as a city, and I appreciate all the work that's happened in planning and community development around that effort to streamline things there. And I see this as the next evolution of that. So thank you for mentioning it, and I hope folks will keep an eye open as things come online more with the city.
Yeah, I think, let me add a little bit to that. I think the council member mentioned something important. The planning permit process needs to be streamlined, and it's happening now with our planning commissioner, not commissioner, department head, but that is going to help us out too. And also the public will have the opportunity to check the utility bill online to kind of ascertain whether the bill's correct or not, or they're using too much water or whatever, but I think that process is really, really great. We're modernizing our billing process with this item, which I think is important with the ERP. So again, Klima, good job with your staff, and it's working out pretty good. So we're coming in to the 2022 and with a lot of spirit and a lot of good work. And thank you to the staff.
Thank you, Mayor, council members.
Thank you. Okay, our 3 minutes are up, and so we need a motion on this item.
I'll move the recommended action, Mayor.
Okay,
I will second.
first by Councilman Turan, second by Councilman Basua. Roll call.
Member Basua,
Aye.
Chair Zaragoza,
I'm
Member Turan.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you. Our next item is a city manager's department item, and this is subject is 7th annual recognized obligation schedule. The recommendation is the Finance and Governance Committee recommend that the Community Development Commission successor agency adopt a resolution approving the 7th annual recognition obligation payment schedule, the ROPS, for 22-23, covering the period of July 1, 2022 to June 30, 2023. And this again was pre-recorded under Measure M. And we also have Ashley Golden, and I'm not sure if she's on today, but whoever's taking her place today, we potentially might have any questions. But before we do that, do we have any speakers on this item?
We do not have any speakers. However, I will start the 3-minute timer for this item.
Start the 3 minutes, okay. Council members, any questions on this item? Councilman Turan?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to thank Mr. Smith for the presentation as well. And one really quick question, I know it was mentioned in the presentation, but just for the record and for folks who watch this meeting now or in the future, can you share how much of the general fund will be responsible for what was presented, and is it before the committee right now?
Thank you for the question, Councilmember Turan. The answer is zero. No general fund dollars are associated with this item.
Thank you very much. That's my only question, Mayor.
Okay, and Adam, I have a couple of questions, that's slide number 1. That shows 2 notable changes to this year's ROPS, including the Hero River Park and the owner participation agreement and the affordable housing public, and also the infrastructure, and also the downtown theater lease guarantee. There's 2 changes, including updating each enforceable application, and termination date. And again, it was mentioned by the council member, there's no funds are responsible. The general fund, is not responsible for any of the ROP items. But can you share the 2 notable changes, the River Park and also the downtown theater leases?
Certainly, and thank you, Mayor. Yes, this year's ROPS has 2 notable changes to 2 of the obligations. One for the River Park affordable housing and public infrastructure items, and the downtown theater lease guarantee. These changes stem from both staff and legal counsel reviewing the source documentation and records for those contract termination dates. And we determined that the previously reported dates were incorrect. So we went in and we fixed them to match the correct expiration dates of the agreements.
So there was about a 5-year difference in the theater, and how many years on the River Park? Was that the same, or 4 years? I can't remember, Adam.
Yes, for the affordable housing, which was item 24 on the ROPS attachment, it's a 4-year change from 2032 to 2036. And from item 40, which is the public infrastructure item, it went from 2035 to 2036. And you're correct with the downtown theater lease went from 2025 to 2030.
And again, the ROPS continues to pay the obligations, and of course, there's really understand that the general fund is not responsible for any of this funding at all, which I think
That's
is
correct.
important. Mr. City Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Smith, can you just clarify from what era or year were those dates incorrectly made?
Sure. Redevelopment occurred throughout the state in 2012, and that's when the city, through the successor agency, began this ROPS process. So these dates stem from 2012, 2013 time period.
And for information, the ROPS too is those obligations are the annual recognized obligation payments are handled through the county and through the different agencies, whether it's the city, or there's a school district or a special district, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, and I think it's important that the public understand that. So, council members, no other questions on this item? Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers on this item? I know that 3 minutes are up.
We do not have any public speakers. Thank you, Mayor.
So at this time, I would like to make a motion to approve this item. Do we have a second?
I will second.
Okay, motion by Zaragoza and second by Turan.
Member Turan,
Yes.
Chair Zaragoza,
Yes.
Member Pasua.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you. Our next item is the Fire Department item. This is subject purchase of 8 Battalion Chief Command vehicles. The recommendation is that the Finance and Governance Committee recommended the City Council ratify the authorization of the mayor to execute the purchase order 8388 in the amount of $419,673.90 for the purchase of 8 Battalion Chief Command vehicles, chassis, to the National Auto Fleet. And this again was recorded under Measure M. And we do have the Chief Alexander Hamilton available for any questions. And if there's any speakers on this item, Madam Chair. Clerk.
We do not have any speakers. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Again, any members of the public have 3 minutes to register, or otherwise to be recognized for the purpose of providing comments on this item. During the 3-minute time period, public comments may be taken, and the city council and staff may discuss the item during that time. So we start at 3 minutes. So, council members, any questions on this item? And Chief, my understanding is that, we'll start with Councilman Turan. Go ahead, Councilman Turan.
Oh, Mayor, you'd already started your comment. You're welcome to continue if you'd like.
No, go ahead and go ahead and do it. Mhm.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Chief, for your presentation as well and the attachments in the staff report. Just a quick question regarding each of the vehicles. Do you have any just kind of broad details about how these vehicles that we're looking at differ from consumer vehicles that might just be purchased off the lot from a dealership that's an equivalent Ford F-350?
Councilmember Turan, thank you for the question. So the simple answer, the purchase order that's being ratified tonight is actually for a standard vehicle that you would get off the lot. So it's actually an F-150 a chassis that we're purchasing. So all the customizing comes after that. So these are pretty much stock vehicles that we're getting. But then once we get those vehicles, then we add all the communications equipment, the automatic vehicle locators, and the command box, so that we can actually run incidents from the back of those vehicles. And so all of that, all of the customizing comes after once we receive the cab and chassis.
Okay, I appreciate that. And my mistake if I stated F-350, they're F-150s, which are a lower trim level, but also have the capabilities to serve our fire staff as needed. All right, well, I appreciate that. And then lastly, when we look at these types of purchases, I get the sense that some folks may think, didn't we just have an item come recently where we purchased vehicles for the fire department or for the police department? Can you share a little bit about some of the vehicles that are being replaced or being taken out of service?
Yeah, so in the staff report, it outlines what these vehicles are going to be used for. So we did lose a vehicle about 1.5 years ago to a traffic collision. And then we have vehicles that are aging out of frontline service, and so we'll still use, and they'll go into reserve status. So they'll sort of be a backup, and then 2 of the vehicles will be reassigned to other personnel, and then 3 of those vehicles are actually for positions that we're looking to expand in the next fiscal year. And so it's sort of in preparation, because one of the things we are aiming to do is to divide the city into 2 separate battalions. So we'll have 2 separate battalion chiefs on each day. And so 3 of the vehicles are actually brand new to our fleet that we haven't yet had before, if that makes sense.
All right, thank you. Those are my questions, Mayor. Thank you, Chief, for the responses.
Thank you, Chief. I also was reading a report, Chief, that $540,326 of those dollars are going to be used to upfit, the vehicles with cameras and sirens and lights and radios and other equipment that you have to provide for this chassis in order to make them workable for your men. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct, Matt. It's as I mentioned to Councilmember Turan, the purchase order for today is literally for a vehicle that you could buy off the lot if you wanted a bright red vehicle for your personal use, I suppose. But yeah, the additional expense would come in obviously with all that customizing. So the code 3 package, which is the lights and the sirens, the communications equipment, all of that is as expensive as the vehicle itself. Unfortunately, but these vehicles are a great utility for us because of their capabilities in being able to run incidents and being able to run them remotely, being able to tie back to our emergency operations center and those kinds of things.
And also, Chief, we're buying this through the Sourcewell agreement that expires in about a couple 20 days or so. So this is really important that we help you out and approve this item today.
Yes, absolutely, Mayor. That'd be fantastic. And as I think is mentioned in the staff report, this is a ratification. We actually got we were a little bit surprised at the timeline they gave us, and so there wasn't an opportunity to come to the committee and council prior to
Right.
the timeline that we had. It would have put us back by a year. So it was allowed within the purchasing guidelines. But obviously it's a little disappointing that we're on such a time crunch that we couldn't come to you prior to needing to place this order.
And just to share for the public, this equipment is property saving and life saving equipment that's needed for the city, which is really, really important. Council members, any other questions on this item? If not, we are also used up our 3 minutes. No speakers on this item.
No speakers. Thank
No
you,
speakers on this
Mayor.
item. So I'd like to have a motion on this item. I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second.
Okay, motion by Zaragoza and second by Councilman Basua. Roll call.
Member Basua,
Aye.
Member Tehran,
Yes.
Chair Zaragoza.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you, council members. That's our last item on our agenda. We have item E. Do you have any items for future agendas, council members? No, I don't have any either. So we are adjourned. Thank you. Happy holidays and
Yes.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. 6:45. Thank you.